You've never got into a relationship planning. Holy, I just had this massive You've never gotten into a relationship planning for it to fail, have you?
No.
Of course not, because you're smart. But you might just not have planned for how you plan for it not to fail. And that's not your fault, because a lot of the time subconsciously when we grow up, when it comes to relationships, we ask the question in one way or another, are you the one? And we're filtering people through a list. Do they treat my friends well? Do they line up with my values? And we're asking that question all the time, are they the one? But let me suggest a better question that you could ask. And the question is this, are you the person you're looking for is looking for? If you ask this question, it'll take the focus off you and put it on the other person. It'll also cause you to change your behaviors, because maybe you won't hang out in places because the person you're looking for would not be there. If you ask this question over time, you'll stop looking for relationships in the wrong places, and the relationships you'll be in will be far healthier. You know the deal. Run the intro. Oi! You're a bit of a meanie, aren't you, mate? Now, you might resist that question, and I get it, but have you noticed how you always come back to asking the same questions over and over and over again in relationships? Questions like, why won't he commit? Like, is it supposed to feel this way going through a breakup? Is true love really supposed to hurt that much? And I've got two thoughts as to why this is the case. The first thought is this, is that you're not a statistic. You and I, when it comes to our relationships, we always like to think that, well, we're the exception to the rule. But can I let you know something? You are the reason statistics exist. I am the reason statistics exist. For people like us who think we're the exception to the rule, we actually prove more often than not that we are the rule. And the second thought is this, is that we often learn the least from areas in our lives that matter the most. Like, I just think about this in my own life. If I've got an issue with my running technique, I'll go to my running coach to try and figure that out. But if I've got a relationship problem, I'm much more inclined to think to myself, you know what, I can figure this out. But it's an area of my life that matters far more than simply running. And maybe the same might be true for you. Now, obviously, you can probably come up with more thoughts than the two that I just shared with you, but these two thoughts kind of highlight this idea that in our relationships, it's so often about the other person. It's about their stubbornness. It's about their inability to forgive. It's about their part. But when Jesus entered into history, he gave us a new way of thinking about relationships. And Jesus kind of said it this way. He said, hey, a new command I'm going to give you, love each other. Which in and of itself is not really revolutionary, right? I think we could all agree that, hey, if you love people better, if I love people better, if world leaders loved each other better, the world would be a better place. But then Jesus kind of follows it up with this. And he says, I want you to love each other the same way that I have loved you. Which is pretty full on considering Jesus died on a Roman cross. Now, obviously, I'm not suggesting you have to go and find yourself a Roman cross to demonstrate your love for someone else on, but I do think it's interesting because Jesus would have spoken Greek and Aramaic, that the word he chose to use for love was agapo, because he had a number of choices of words. And agapo is this verb. It means this irrevocable, irresistible kind of love. It actually means that it goes beyond emotions, and it's actually a decision. Before the other person chooses how they're going to act or how they're going to respond, you've already made a commitment to love the other person. And I think that's so interesting for us, because that's the kind of love that we want to experience in our own lives. This irreversible, irrevocable kind of love. And I think Jesus might be onto something here, because what he's really saying is for you and I in relationships, if we want them to work, we have to pre-decide the way in which we're going to react. We have to take the focus off the one and focus a little bit more on ourselves. Now, here's where this might get a little bit challenging for you, is because we kind of think to ourselves, hey, if I can just find the right person, then everything will be all right. But the truth is, that's never worked out for anyone, has it? Right? Because over time, those bad habits begin to creep back in. So here's what I want you to do. After you finish this video, I want you to make a list of maybe some of the physical and the emotional and the spiritual characteristics that you're looking for in a partner. And then I want you to ask yourself this really honest question: would a person who has those characteristics be looking for you? And if the answer is no, hey, that's totally okay, because what you've identified is some growth areas. You've now got some habits and behaviors that you can begin to grow in so that you can ensure in the future that when the person you're looking for walks through the doors, that you're the person they're looking for as well. Hey, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend who might find it helpful as well. We'll see you next time. He's still looking menacingly. Menacingly. Such a menace.